In 1941, there was a massive philanthropic initiative. Some of the biggest, richest families in the world, their trusts, they literally donated it to the people of Earth. Astronomical amounts of wealth. Like, we're talking thousands and thousands of metric tons of gold. Unfortunately, the governments basically went, no, we're just not going to tell the people about this, and we're going to keep it for ourselves. That the fact it's still there waiting for us to claim. So all that has to come back.
Hello, my friends, and thanks for joining me today. I talk a lot about spiritual sovereignty, and my life's work has been helping people or assisting people to find what spiritual sovereignty looks like within their lives. Today, I have invited my friend Aaron Lucey to come and join us, and he is the secretary for the American State Assembly. He will help us to understand what sovereignty looks like in a society. So grab yourselves a cup of tea, buckle in, because this one's going to be a wild ride. Hi, Aaron. It's so great that you've joined me today. I'm so excited to speak to you.
Of course. You know, when it comes to sovereignty, I always have time because I think at its core, we all want to be more free. So the more I can help bring clarity around freedom, the better. So I'm always up for this. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm so excited to be sharing some of this news because I did a podcast a little while ago on the fact that I don't watch the news. And I don't watch the news because I don't like the fabrication, but
Right.
I like to speak straight to the horse's mouth. If people are involved in something, I want to get the real information, and you are the guy to talk to about sovereignty.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah, the messages I've been hearing a lot is that there is just this kind of general hum of hopelessness and feeling like people are out of control.
Yeah.
And from a metaphysical point of view, because of what I do, I really like to remind people that, you know, as above, so below.
Right.
So we've got to change our spiritual outlook, or we've got to align to the correct spiritual outlook for us. And then what happens is it presents itself in the outside world. Can you tell me a little bit about what becoming sovereign means in the physical world?
Yes. Okay. There's contracts that you enter in all throughout your life, and then you continue to consent with for your whole life because you think it's normal and it's what your parents did, and so you have no reason to question it. So It's a matter of just being aware of what these contracts are, and if they benefit you, great. If they don't, okay, how can we nullify these contracts or essentially get rid of these contracts so they don't have no bearing in our lives or when we're moving forward, so it doesn't affect you energetically or legally or lawfully. Yeah.
So when you say they, who are they?
We're talking about the corporations who pretty much run everything. Basically, the governments are corporations, and they're in it for profit. It's for profit. They're private corporations. So if any corporations in something for profit, then your rights are always put second. It's all about profit. So the reality is the governments are corporations. Now, they're not actually your corporation. They basically have their own rules and their own laws, and they basically push them on you without your consent.
Well, and this is the thing, from what I've heard is a lot of these contracts, you don't know about them and you've agreed to them just by not standing up and saying, hey, I don't agree with this.
Right. Or even just asking questions, what does this mean? Like that's when it comes to self-governance, you're always asking questions, what does this mean? What does it mean for me? And I'm like, what does this do to me? What is it like, where's the benefit? And what are you putting in and what am I putting in? So it's just those questions. That's like self-governance. That's what it is asking the questions. The quality questions really dictate how you perceive your world. So as soon as you ask the question about, okay, what is the full disclosure and have you given me full disclosure, then if there's no full disclosure, it immediately shuts down that contract and it's null and void. It's very simple. So, but you just have to have the knowing to basically ask that question in the first place.
But this is the thing. You have to know to ask the questions. And I think that unless you know somebody who knows the path, it becomes this, like this scary kind of event. What we see a lot in the world is very fabricated realities that are designed particularly to keep us in a state of hopelessness. And I think there's so many people that are waking up, and even the people that don't know that it's actually waking up, they're kind of going, that feels interesting, and they're kind of being drawn into these areas. And when you actually find out what's really going on and the way to get out and what you can actually achieve, it's mind-blowing. And it becomes almost like, are you sure? Are you real? Is that real? Like,
yes.
like one of the things that we've spoken about is the new banks that are starting to be formed. And can you tell me a little bit about that? Because that particularly to me is super exciting.
Yeah. So all the banking system now is built on debt, specifically debt slavery. They're designed to put you in debt. And you just look at your credit cards, they're designed to literally make you go into debt. Corporations, governments only deal in credit. Living people deal in money. And then the legal definition of money is gold and silver, not the currency that you're using. It's literally gold and silver. That's it. Mm-hmm. So these banks that we're dealing with, everyone's dealing with at the moment, don't deal in gold and silver. They can't even accept it. And they only deal in debt. So we actually are the priority creditors, and we're creating all this for them. They just don't tell us. So in America, the American state assemblies needed a way to basically bring back the people's wealth back to them. So that being said, they needed to create a whole new banking system from the ground up in order to give us our inheritance back.
Tell me about that. We are all wealthy, but we don't know about it. What is that? Like, tell me the history of that.
I guess it kind of goes back to 1941. In 1941, there was a massive philanthropic initiative where some of the biggest, the richest families in the world, their trusts, they literally donated it to the people of Earth. Now, we're talking astronomical amounts of wealth. Like, we're talking thousands and thousands of metric tons of gold. Unfortunately, at that time, the governments basically went, no, we're just not going to tell the people about this, and we're going to keep it for ourselves. The fact it's still there waiting for us to claim. So all that has to come back.
And that's the other thing too, that you actually work with the American State Assembly. Is that correct?
Yes. So I'm a recording secretary, and I'm a part of the General Assembly for our state. So what the American State Assemblies is, first and foremost, it's literally how America was originally designed to be run. So we're going back to the founding forefathers and what they created with the Declaration of Independence and how they set it up. They literally set this up and ran it from 1776 to 1781. It was running exactly like this. This is how we're supposed to run our governments. We are the government. we decide who's in charge. It's the weirdest thing. When you join an assembly and you walk in and you go, well, who's in charge here? And everyone will turn around and go, we are, everyone. There's no hierarchy. We're literally all in charge, and we're all self-governed, and we all basically nominate what we want to happen.
It astounds me at how much wisdom and pure essence of heart came through in those original meetings. And we are moving as a collective towards synarchy. This is our evolution point. So synarchy is where there is no leaders, there's no anarchy, and there's no hierarchy.
Yeah.
It's that every person is their own government. Every person has their own rights, and that in itself, as much as it's an appealing prospect, I think for a lot of people can terrify them.
This is what I come into contact with every day, because our current society has literally programmed us or conditioned us to basically be told what to do. Like you go through all this schooling, especially if you go into the military, but even your parents, everything like that, everyone is taught, do this. And like, even when you do like the test at school, it's like, okay, pick A, B, C, or D. Which one do you pick? You pick one of those. That's all the choice. There's no creativity. There's no stepping outside of that. So one of the biggest issues when you're dealing with helping people correct their status and become sovereign and do all that stuff is, okay, you're free. Now you have to govern yourself. So there's no one else to basically jump in and say, do this. You have to literally step up and take ownership and responsibility for your life. And as long as you act in honor, integrity, and love, and basically when it comes down to it, the common law, which is to do with the common people, that's what basically happens when you correct your status and you take on the new jurisdiction of the land jurisdiction for the people. This is the people's law. Then you take on all this responsibility and ultimate freedom. But that's scary for people because they've been taught not to trust that or not to do that. They want to be told what to do. So that's,
it's like that teenager mentality, isn't it? You know, you've got teenagers that stay at home. They want all the rights, but they don't want any of the responsibilities.
Exactly.
So, you know, and because it's scary to go out there, particularly when we haven't been conditioned to do that. We've been conditioned in these industrialized schooling systems to become a cog in the wheel of this industry. And that's it. It's got nothing to do with education, because true education comes from inspiring someone to go for what it is that they want to actually absorb and learn. So you would have a whole bunch of kids running around just doing what they wanted to do and being able to take on board whatever it is that interested them. That's what a natural schooling system would look like. But
repressing the genius. Because your genius comes from creativity, and then if, you know in yourself when you're passionate about something or want to learn it, and it just absorbs. And so you go through a schooling and you've been told, no, you have to learn this, you have to learn this, you have to learn this, otherwise you're going to fail and you're not going to get a good job and you're not going to do all these things. And so, oh my God, it's the whole fear and control thing that they're trying to perpetuate that you need to break out of, and in so many levels.
And it is on so many levels. What do you think is the biggest challenge for people? What is the biggest fear, do you think, for when people want to transition into actually claiming their sovereignty?
The main one is probably fear of repercussions.
Yes.
Ramifications. That's the one. Yes. So I even have family now. It's like I tell them what I'm doing, and that freaks them out. They're like, "You're doing what?" And the funny thing is, like, you correct your status and become sovereign, nothing happens. Like nothing. It's the weirdest thing. Like
everything's the same,
right? And you're kind of nervous. You're nervous. I'm like, okay, I know this feels right in my heart. I know I need to do this, and so you do it. And you notice. You'll give notice to the authorities and say, I am now no longer in your jurisdiction. You have no authority over me. Even sending them off, like even to the IRS or tax guys, I'm no longer paying tax. Thank you, I appreciate it. I didn't realize it was voluntary, and nothing happens. Like nothing. And you're like,
tax is voluntary.
Yeah. Since 1941, which is what the initiative was, in this philanthropic initiative, given all the money to all the governments, no one will ever pay tax again. So it's voluntary. It's literally voluntary. And here in America, it's written in the tax code. It says it's voluntary. It's nuts. Yeah,
it is nuts, isn't it? So if you're an employee of the government, i.e., you've taken on the person, then it's under employee law almost that you have to pay. And this is where they can put people in jail for tax evasion and all that kind of stuff.
It's kind of like being an employee for McDonald's. So you're subject to all their rules and regulations and statutes and things like that. It's the same thing when it comes to the government. If you work for them or are dependent of them, then you're subject to all their laws, codes, and statutes, that type of thing. So they kind of convert you into one of their employees or dependents with your birth certificate. And so then you give up your sovereign, unalienable rights, with that birth certificate, it just goes away, and now you're literally one of their public property. You're public property of a private corporation acting as the government. See, it's illegal to enslave someone like a man or woman, but it's not illegal to enslave a corporation. So they literally make you into a corporation so they can enslave you. Essentially, you're owned by your government. That's what a citizen is. The definition of a citizen is to be of service. Now, that's fine if you put your hand up and say, I want to be of service. But if you have no choice in the matter and weren't given full disclosure, then that, by rights, is technically slavery.
And I guess it scares us all to do anything that we feel like we have to do or being drawn to do.
Right.
But we've been conditioned to do something else.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's important to remember that if it's a contract, it takes two to enter in a contract. And so then you can basically ask what the rules are, what are the terms of this contract. And if they aren't being met, then you have every right to sever the tie of this contract. That's literally how easy it is. And so that's all we're doing. We're severing the ties. So one, we have to claim we're living because we were deemed dead and that we're living. Then we cancel all powers of attorneys to all of our estate. And then we claim all that back as our own. And then we just publish it on a land recording office, which land recording offices only deal with the living men and women. That's why they try to shut them down all over the world. But you record all your documents with a land recording office, and then basically your right to be claimed as a living man or woman on this land jurisdiction, and you're untouchable. You're a king and queen in your own right. You're sovereign. That's it.
So these banks, it's actually a physical thing. They do exist now.
Yeah. So the Global Family Bank is basically it's operating, it's up and running, and we're just literally waiting on our basically cards, which will be preloaded with credit for indefinitely, which is, even for me, I've been talking about this for a while, and I've seen a lot of evidence of it, and the people who created it, that type of thing. It's until I have it in my hand, it's still going to be it's going to be a stretch. I'm not going to lie, because we're meant to be free. We're not meant to work for a living. We're meant to go do what we love and then help other people do what they love. They're to be of service. That's how our life is. And that's where we're actually heading. And I mean, to have those cards in my hand is going to be pretty ridiculous, but we're close. We're so freaking close. And it's super exciting, because you're never actually free until completely free until you're financially free, right?
Yeah.
So that's literally the last missing piece. So once you fix all the contracts and become legally and lawfully free, then the last thing is financially free. That's the last missing piece. Then after that, it's just new earth, here we come.
I think this is what we've all been working to collectively for such a long time. And this is what this whole, collapse is taking us to. So it's, we can look at the doom and gloom of it all and think about, my gosh, society's collapsing and they're all trying to make us join up with this digital currency and blah, blah, blah.
It's okay. Just remember, it's just like a game. So you got to remember, digital currency is just like a game. There's nothing wrong with playing the game and having some fun, but just know that when it comes to digital currency, it's a game. It's a game, but it's a part of the matrix, and it needs to basically dissolve before we can have a new higher frequency digital currency that we're much more deserving of, and that's much going to be more in alignment with how we're living as a people of Earth.
That is basically based on gold and silver.
Yeah.
That's not just based on thin air and what somebody's of invented.
Yeah.
It's interesting, your path in all of this, because you've been kind of just activated around all of this information and going this way. And now you're assisting people to do this full time. Is that right?
Yes, I am. So I mean, I've been studying this for a lot of years, and I was fortunate enough to really have the American State Assemblies fall in my lap because I was listening to court hearings, basically, common law court hearings around the world, and so I was delving deep into different types of law and trying to understand it because I knew there was something that felt right in my heart that I needed to focus on common law, essentially, and it kind of fell in my lap, and then I was like, "This is it. This is literally it." So the American State Assemblies, they're not incorporated, and the people who are reconstructing the American government right now are all voluntary. Like they're volunteering their time and money to literally reconstruct it from the ground up, based on the founding forefathers and their design. So there wasn't enough nurturing for people coming in, and I pretty much there's a niche, essentially a niche or a want in people coming in to be nurtured. So
Yeah.
I basically use my extensive coaching background because I've done a lot of I spent over $110,000 on personal development and coaching and things like that. So I just wanted to apply that and help nurture people into this transition because there's so much fear. So it's easy when you have a friend and they grab you by the hand and go, "I got you." I'm like, trust in me and I trust that this works. And I'm like, let's just walk you through this baby steps. Here's the next step. Don't stress about it. It's fine. And then if any issues come up, then I'm just always here for you. So I essentially created like a coaching business that complements what the American State Assemblies are doing because I don't want to take away from the integrity and honor that they're doing in basically reconstructing our new governments. I just wanted to be the support for people to come in so they can learn it quicker, get over the hurdles, the fear, and so they can literally become an active part of our assemblies and then help build our new earth. Because it takes all of us, everyone need to come home, they need to claim their living, and then pick up a mop and bucket and start cleaning up this mess. And so it takes more people to do it. So if I can fast track that process of people getting into their assemblies and wanting to take initiative then to actually rebuild, then that's a huge part. And it's my honor to actually do that. So that's what I'm basically doing now.
That's fantastic, Aaron. And, one of the questions that comes into my mind is, people owning their own land and people owning their own homes and things like that. What's your perspective on all of that coming into the future?
Okay, so this is another rabbit hole. The whole mortgage and real estate industry is so fraudulent. It's ridiculous. So first and foremost, there's no land deeds and land patents anymore. So what you're owning when you buy something is not the actual land. It's actually a title. And so what a title is a British term, and it literally is a title is what the King of England gives you. He gives you a title. So they've given a title to the land. So what you're purchasing is literally just the name of said land. And in doing that, you've literally gifted it to the king. And now if you pay that off, like you pay off your mortgage and you're still paying taxes, you're literally renting that title from the king. So that all needs to go away. Like it all needs to go away. You need to have land patents, land deeds, because there are ways to basically bring it back to the land by recording in the land recording office, so where you could actually claim your land patent or land deed, and it's definitely yours, and they have no jurisdiction or no authority to say anything whatsoever about your land ever, because it's your land. It's kind of crazy.
Changing your status, you're literally claiming back your right to so much, and you're breaking some of these contracts, or you're no longer the
consenting party, basically.
Yeah.
So you're no longer consenting to your role which they put you in. So because you're not consenting, then you're no longer in the game, and so you just clean up that contract and it's gone. This just disappears. Yeah.
And so you're doing this in America,
Yeah.
and you're part of a large group of people called the American State Assemblies that are literally rewriting and reconstructing a more lawful government.
Yeah.
Is it frowned upon? You don't get bullied? You don't get
dealing with family and friends who can't even comprehend that there could be another reality where they could have more freedom and the government is corrupt. Dealing with and it's kind of like that old story where the crabs are in a bucket and once one tries to climb out and the other crabs grab him and pull him back in. That is literally how society has been programmed to keep everyone in check. Yeah, there's people daily, even on Instagram, who are going, "You're crazy, you're a quack," and that type of stuff. And it's just their fear, because when it comes down to it, if they really admitted to it, then their whole reality would be a lie, and that's literally their anger and they're conflicted against themselves, because they know this reality would literally blow away their reality, and they can't handle that. So
what I'm hearing then is that it's not so much any ramifications that you get from, let's say, what we call the official channels. It's more to do with family and friends that are very indoctrinated into the old system.
Yeah,
and I guess that's I mean, there was some great psychological experiments done back after World War II, where I won't go into the whole experiment, but it was very, very interesting that people, the end of the experiment was people would actually harm another human being if an authority told them that it was correct.
Yeah.
And so this it's almost like a spell. It's almost like a trance that people are in. And when you think about this is generational.
Yeah. Yeah.
This,
probably thousands of years. Like, where it's not even hundreds of years. Like, it's probably up to close to 1,000. Like, you're literally going back to the Holy Roman Empire. They had all this going, even probably back into Egypt. This, like, in the darker days of Egypt, there was definitely these games were being played to create control, because it goes back that far. So multi-generational. Mind programming. It's just how it is.
So really there's nothing there's nothing that's going to really change. Like you were saying, there's nothing that really changes in your outside world. What's happening is that you doing your life in a way that's more free is actually just triggering other people, and it's really scaring the pants off them in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why what you're doing is really, really good, because you know the psychological aspect of it, as well as you know the laws inside and out. So you can then actually guide people through, hey, this is how I dealt with this particular wave. Yeah.
And then you just lead by example. So as long as you take away that aspect to it, and people just have you as their like new family, like new sovereign family, then it just eventually the rest will catch up. They'll go, oh, you just bought a new house? I'm like, wait, it's yours? You own it completely? Or now you have a new car? I'm like, no payment? What? You don't need loans? What's going on?
How come you're not working? How come you're just doing philanthropic things and just going around? And I just noticed that you spent a week painting a picture,
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Are you investing? And it's like, no, I actually confronted my generational fears and went through the hall of terror to actually get to this place to actually free myself.
It's the best I told you so you could ever hope to do in your entire life. Like, I mean, we've transferred a lot of ego going through this, but there's a little bit underneath. We'll just go.
You think? Look, I think that would have to be because honestly, it's the feelings that we're all, the waves of all of this unconscious debris that's coming up, because this is what I do for a living. And I see people coming in with, these incredible waves of fear and grief and all the rest of it. And the thing is that if we don't get to the foundations of these things, they don't go away. Right. And obviously humanity is clearing them on a foundational level, because now we're seeing in reality people like you out there actually transforming the blueprint, coming back to a more sovereign Christ consciousness in its truest word, way of living, where people are family and community and there is no ownership. And what's mind-boggling too is the idea that, we're also offended about slavery, but we're also enslaved.
Yeah. And that's the paradigm. Like that's part of the paradigm that we need to break out of.
And how are we the co-creators to our own slavery? What are we doing every day that lends to us being, and also the fear of being free. Because as much as we want it's terrifying at the same time, isn't it?
And then you get over it, and it's like, oh, cool, it was never that bad in the first place. But that's literally fear in itself for everything. It's like, I'm scared so much, and then you get like, well, it wasn't that bad. It's the same thing. Look through all your entire life. It's always been the same thing. Yeah.
It's always been the same thing, that in a dark room, that boogeyman that you saw in the corner of your room when you turned the lights on was just a jacket over a chair. It was an illusion. Right. And I was saying the other day on one of the podcasts that there is only a finite number of fears. So once we get through those fears, the fear of not belonging, the fear of being ridiculed, the fear of being wrong. That's a huge ego fear. So when you start to come, like, well, what happens if I am wrong? And does the sky cave in? Like, what really happens? Nothing. It's incredible to know that there are these fabulous things that are actually coming together, because we don't hear that through the main streams
on purpose.
It is on purpose.
Yeah. Well, we're restricted. Like we're definitely we're censored. Yes. We're censored big time. Like a lot of this information you won't hear. Like I'm literally standing on the shoulders of like 900 people in America that over the last 50 years who dug through like archives and found what was right. So when people go, you're crazy, you're stupid, I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah. Do you know the 900? No. Otherwise you wouldn't be saying those questions. Like I'm just carrying the torch from these amazing heroes that have literally leading us into the new earth. It's huge. Yeah, it's huge.
It is huge, and to break people and humanity out of slavery is it's a very courageous step, and each person has to claim their own freedom back. It really is just
There's that's exactly right. I just wrote a post today. There's no one coming to save you. Like you can be open, but the responsibility of that is squarely on your shoulders. I can show you the way and I can help you, but you need to take the initiative, take the first step. And so, yeah.
And that's huge. I mean, the fact that there's somebody out there that can go, hey, look, there's the path. It's down there. I mean, masters have done this over thousands and thousands of years with humanity, that have shone the torch to say, hey, this is the way. The Christ, the Buddha, all of the great masters have come in to go, hey, this is the torch. Come, the light's this way, but it's up to each and every one of us to be able to face that dragon within, and to realize that dragon's actually there to help us, to liberate us.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
dragon energy, love it.
Yes, me too. Didn't you just make a dragon, or was it a you did some welding
Oh yeah,
for Burning Man?
yeah. So I grew up in outback Australia, so I kind of been fortunate enough to have many skills.
Oh,
So yeah,
yes. You are
so
like, if I could create the analogy of, you are like Crocodile Dundee and Steve Irwin's love child.
that's
So
funny. Yeah,
and I mean, I love Crocodile Dundee.
me too.
Paul
Me
Hogan
too.
was my sweetheart growing up. I loved him.
And when you live in
Yeah.
America, that's one of the things you say a lot. That's not a knife. This is a knife. Yeah, you say a lot.
No, but you are like the real deal. Like,
Yeah,
you are the guy that's on the motorbike, riding on a motorbike, jumping on the horse that's running away, and that's just kind of what you did every day.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's just normal. So,
yeah.
yeah. But I actually built a basically created from almost scratch a Burning Man art car that basically looks like a dragon. So
Wow.
I welded. Yeah, it was a good couple of months of straight welding, and yeah, it was hectic. It was pretty cool.
I saw
So
pictures of it. I was so impressed.
yeah, well,
It's
thank you.
great because,
Yeah,
I mean, I love dragon energy. Dragon energy to me, mythologically, is the energy that stands up for the wrongly accused. And it's very much about the freedom of humanity, because we all have to face a dragon to get to the other side. And then the dragon stands next to us.
yeah.
So,
It's funny you say that because I have a dragon on my arm. My arm.
oh, wow.
It's a dragon
Look at
protecting the tree of
goosebumps.
life.
Yeah. So there is no coincidence that you were activated to go down this path.
Yeah,
Yeah. You were imbued with this task, and you know, and I mean, from what I've known of you since you were a very young person, you've always had a very pure heart, Aaron. It's
thank
always
you.
been a lot of integrity there, and you've always really faced whatever demons came your way, to overcome them. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm thrilled that you're helping people along this path. So what we probably need to do is just let people know how to contact you. I will put that in the description
yeah,
under
great.
the podcast. You've got a Facebook page, is that right?
Yes, it's called Unchained with Aaron, and it's just basically I wanted to create a little like a group that people come and ask questions, and I can continue to post new things. So you can start,
Mm.
just putting your toe in the water, just where people can come and go. Okay, this is kind of like a family thing. So that have that, and then I'm in the process of building a new website, which will basically be very in. Just literally take you through everything. So it's just a lot. It's a lot of information that I got to compile down and simplify, so it's not too overwhelming, and that we can build out on. So yeah, that's in the process right now. Or you can email me too, Unchained with Aaron, and it's at proton.me. So if they
Okay.
want to email me, and then yeah, so basically it kind of starts with we have a phone call and I see where you're at, and then basically just you ask questions pertaining to your situation, and then I just pretty much give people hope, and then just like give them a door. Like this is the way to go. It's super simple. Yeah, and I'm just here to help, and however and whatever aspect you need, basically.
And as you've gone through the path, and of course you guys have had to actually build the path. Now the more the people that go down this path, the easier it becomes.
Yeah,
So
there's a massive initiative when it comes to sovereign stuff. Now, not everyone is basically doing it the American Assembly way, but there's a lot of people that have found the cheat codes within the matrix, within the system, who are really creating a lot of freedom, and they're doing really good. But eventually, everyone's going to need to come home, literally home.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's fantastic. Oh, this has been mind blowing, enlightening, and absolutely exhilarating, Aaron. Thank you. I will see what everybody thinks, and
yeah,
might get you back at a future time
I
to
would
kind
love
of
to. Yeah,
extrapolate on some more bits and pieces. Yeah.
yeah.
So Lots of love. Lots of
Same
love
back
to
to you,
your
Vesna.
beautiful wife and your gorgeous children.
Thank you.
And I will no doubt speak to you guys very, very soon.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been an honor to talk to you. And so, let's do more of these. This will be fun. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. All my best. Mwah.
All right. Bye.